So, hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere that there's going to be a clip of this, a live version of this, whatever happens, happens. We put this out everywhere. If I can get this to cooperate, that would be great. Yes, that would be great. So, how y'all doing out there? Well, as today's title indicates, it is Snowpallooza outside. The snow has started falling probably around what 10:30, 11 o'clock last night here, and so now we have the snow that we should have had in December here at the end of January, right here at the end of January. So how are y'all doing out there? Y'all staying warm? Anybody lose power? Any of that kind of good stuff? Roy's not going to be here with us today. For those of you that like to see Roy popping up on here, he stayed up too late with his Miracle Whip. And, so he's not going to be able to make it in for today. So that's on him for staying up all night long with his Miracle Whip, doing weird stuff. And he'll just try to disprove this whenever he watches this later on today. So, but it is snowing outside. The snow continues to fall. I got my fireplace going. It is a little cool in my office. That's why I'm a little bit more bundled up today, right now. Just because there's no true heat in here. And the way my house is, I put a space heater in here and it ends up blowing a fuse. So, because they like to put way too many things on one circuit in the house on the fuse box, and which isn't correct. So, I will be correcting that one of these days. Um, Whenever I get in the attic and replumb where the wiring for the office goes. It needs to be on its own circuit as it is, because as it shares an entire wall with other stuff, from the front room to the outside circuit to part of the kitchen in here. So that's way too many things on one breaker. So that's going to get changed uh, pretty soon, hopefully, and get it on its own breaker and go from there. But that's neither here nor there right now. We are in Snowpallooza 2.026 right now. And if you see my video out there, you can go to my page and you can see what I'm talking about. Again, it is still snowing here, which is very cool. I wish we would get this in December, during that Christmas time area. And from there, it moves forward from there. We're supposed to keep this for the next X amount of days, like 2 or 3 days. We're going to be in the winter wonderland of snow with potential, sleet and ice and stuff like that happening. So we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I got my wood chopped. I've got the wood going in the fireplace right now. If we do lose power, I can still cook because I do have a wood burning stove back in the library that has a cooktop on it. So I'm good. And I can get the house up to about 90 degrees in no time flat with that fireplace. Just because it can burn at, about 1200 degrees if I really wanted to get it going that good. And then the fireplace going, we've got the heat going on and stuff like that. I'll let you know how it goes throughout the day and the next couple days. Let's see. Today is what, Friday? No, today. Yeah, today Friday. Today's Friday, right? I don't even know what day it is. I didn't get my calendar in because they were like, "Oh, we can't find it, so we had to cancel your order." Well, you're a bunch of nimcompoos. You had a million of them at one point in time. Where'd they all go? So, I am in the hunt for a new calendar, and I know they've got them out there, and I know that they've got them on clearance sale at certain places. Just not at Books a Million. Books a Million still has them at the standard price, which is ridiculous. Since we're already, a month in, and I only need 11 months now. I don't need the whole. What up, Dennis? Welcome to the show. You staying warm where you're at? Again, we're at Snowpallooza right here. Don't forget to like, share, and follow when you get here. And again, Roy's not going to be here today. He stayed up too late with his mayo, his Miracle Whip, and he will not be here. He just told me he was going to Betty Bye. Oh, he's all worn out now, playing with his Miracle Whip. But anyway, um, we are living in a winter wonderland, which I know Dennis you saw already right there. Um, Lots of still going on. I do have a guest in house with us today. I'm not sure where he truly hails from. We'll potentially ask him. Yeah, we're getting an inch of the white stuff. Hopefully, it's not on your counter. And if you guys know, you know. That's a joke. All right, so I've talked about him. I've mentioned him many, many times, but we've never had him on the show before. Today's that day. Today, you guys get introduced to Diego, the Haunted Jester. Now, since I have owned him, he hasn't done anything here. Okay, we got more coming. We do too. We're supposedly this is supposed to go on for us until Monday, so we'll see how it goes. This is Diego, the Haunted Jester doll. Again, he is a music box, and he does move to the music box on the inside. And like I said, we've talked about him before, but we've never brought him on the show. Rumor has it from the person that we bought it from, uh, he causes scratches. He shows up in your room at night. Those type things. He hasn't done that since I've owned him. He sits on the shelf in the library with all my other creepy dolls, uh, creepy clowns. Let's go that route. They're not just dolls; they're clowns. And the creepier, the better. If you find a creepy clown, send me a picture of it. I might end up getting it for the house. Um, but again, they claimed that he would be in one room and then they would wake up with him in bed with them and then they would have scratches and all kinds of other stuff. So, what I'm going to do now that we have Diego in here with us, I'm going to put a recorder on him and see what happens, you know, because he is a supposed. Anybody can put haunted title on anything that they want to, okay? So, as far as I know, this is the only haunted item I have in my house. Again, allegedly. Because, again, he has not done anything like the other owner said he does. So, don't forget to tell Diego hi. Say hi, Diego. It's not one of those things in the Zach Bagans where you have to tell it hi and bye and all that stuff. I just, just be polite. If it is a trapped soul inside of this gesture doll, we want to make him feel welcome and all that good stuff. So this is Diego, the Haunted Jester. Again, he hasn't done anything at my house that the other person claims he has done. I don't end up with scratches. I haven't woken up with him in bed with me, any weird shit like that. So, but again, I'm going to put him in here, and I am going to put a recorder on him. This recorder, by the way. I have my other one over there too, but I'm going to use this one. I'm going to set him right here. Well, actually, I'm going to set him right here. Give me just 1 second. And we're going to set this right here. If I can remember how to turn it on. It's on. Oh, I have to wait. Okay, so we're starting our recording. Now that Diego is in here with the other doll that I'm creating as a haunted piece, as a creepy doll. Diego, if you have anything to say, you can speak into this red light. Right. we'll be able to hear the entire conversation as well. So there we go. Right there, right there. Putting it right directly behind him. So it will pick up anything. It will have bounce back off of the wall and all of that goody good stuff. So there you go. All right. So welcome to the show, everybody. We are talking about Diego right there. We just put him down. He is supposedly a haunted jester doll. I do have a cat ball readily in play right here. So in case anything happens and we see it, we'll be able to see any movement, all that good stuff. Right in here. Put it right there. And you guys will be able to see it possibly before I even do. I doubt it. But now you guys up here on the YouTube and TikTok side aren't going to be able to see that. All right. So I got 2 pages left to ink. And this is my light inks. This is my latest ink page right here. If I can pick it up. Right here. For Condry, Man's Best Friend. This is what I'm working on currently. I've got page 7 and 8 left to ink. And we're going from there. Good morning from Orlando. What are you doing on? I'm always on every other day. It's my show. And we talk about horror movies, paranormal stuff, because I live in a haunted house. And we talk about comic books, comic book artwork, my artwork, which you're seeing right here, one of my pieces, and my comic books that I'm working on and working on for other companies at this particular juncture. So there you go. But we did just set Diego up, which is supposedly a haunted jester doll, which we bought and brought into the house. He did sit out in the house or out of the house for a while out in the shop. But again, I've got a recorder setting with him right now, and we're going to see if we pick up anything out of the ordinary with him by the end of the show. So there you go. All right. So we are getting heavy snow right now. It's still snowing outside. We're probably sitting at about an inch and a half. They said we've got the potential to get anywhere between 10 to 24 inches of snow. So we will see if that goes to fruition. We tried to watch, what was it called? It was a slow burn right off the bat. Begonia last night. We tried to watch that. We both ended up falling asleep on it. So very, very slow burn right off the bat. It's about these 2 guys that think aliens are on Earth, which we know they are. And Emma Stone is the other lead who gets kidnapped and is believed to be an alien by these 2 gentlemen. Well, by one of the 2 gentlemen. And again, very, very slow burn right off the bat. And that's probably why we ended up falling asleep on it. Now, everybody knows that the trailer for Masters of the Universe just dropped for the new Masters of the Universe movie. How do you feel about it? I'm indifferent about it right now. I mean, I'm going to see it because, again, nostalgia. And, you know, back in the 80s, whenever the cartoon came out, the toys were out before the cartoon. And then the movie with Dolph Lundgren hit in 87. And then fast forward to 2021 when Kevin Smith revamps it again in cartoon form for Netflix. And then, boom, now it's 2026 and we got the new trailer for a June release date of Masters of the Universe. So, again, the Skeletor looks really good. I know a lot of people have an issue that Jared Leto is playing Skeletor, but the makeup effects look really, really good. So, and then a lot of people have an issue with the person playing, He-Man's part, just because of the lack of bulk. Yes, he's physically fit, and which is evident since he's, only got a loincloth on, for most of the movie. which is a woman's delight, right? Seeing your man walk around in a loincloth. Um, and a lot of people have an issue with his size, just like a lot of people have an issue with Jason Momoa playing Lobo in Supergirl, which is a new movie coming out as well, with Jason Momoa portraying Lobo in the DC universe. So he's playing two different characters in the DC universe, Aquaman and Lobo. Now, I can see him as a better Lobo than Aquaman. I'm sorry. He just he just didn't look right as playing Aquaman, in my opinion. And but Lobo being a jerk, for lack of a better word, especially when Simon Beasley drew him back in the day, in the '90s. Very, very iconic character. Of course, it came out in Omega Man comic book series back in the day. Issue number 5, I believe, is when he made his debut, and that was back in the late '70s. I think it was '78, '77, somewhere in that range. I could be wrong on the date. Don't hold me to that, because I can be wrong. I have a lot of knowledge that floats around up in here, and sometimes they get discombobulated. All right. Um, Especially when it comes to comic books and the like. Hello, how are you? I'm doing great. We're talking about Snowpallooza 2.026, which is going on right now. We're getting a lot of snow dumped on us right here in the Arkansas area, from Texas through Oklahoma to Arkansas, all the way up to Maine. This front is hitting pretty much everybody right now. I'll let you know how it goes the next couple of days, because this is supposed to last through Monday. Even I had a message on my bottom of my computer that said, you know, temperatures to rise next Tuesday. So that's always exciting. You're in Alaska? Awesome. I want to be in Alaska, to be honest, to live out in the middle of nowhere and just live. Get me like a 10 to 20 acre tract of land out there in the middle of nowhere and just disappear. Not because I want to disappear, it's just because I've always wanted to live in Alaska. I've got a half sister that lives in Anchorage, and then my uncle used to live in Anchorage before they passed on. They moved to Wisconsin after Alaska in their last days, you know. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Wisconsin where they moved to right at the end. So before they ended up passing, but no, Alaska is awesome. I love it. I haven't been there. I've been everywhere else via military, but Alaska is one place that I haven't been yet, and I want to go. Well, I'm getting ready to talk to my half sister and be like, hey, you got a guest room? Because I want to go up there for about a week, especially during the winter time, and just be like, okay, I'm going out to the woods with a tent and a little wood burning stove and see what happens for a week. You know, I might hate it, you know, especially since it gets to like what, negative 80 degrees there sometimes. Um, but just the beauty of the land, period, is just awe inspiring. The untouched landscape in certain areas. Yeah, I know you guys are prone to wildfires and things like that on a regular basis. But it's the risk anywhere. I mean, my house could go up in flames just like that. You know, just because of a faulty wire or a rodent, chews on the wrong wire and bzz, there it goes. There goes my house. Or a space heater, you know, catches something on fire. Heaven forbid. And fires happen on a regular basis. I'm not wishing fire upon that. Nice. I'm glad you're talking about it. Yeah, I mean, Alaska. I mean, I've been to the warmest of warms, you know, in Afghanistan, uh, Oklahoma, Arkansas, uh, down in Texas where it gets nice and warm too. Louisiana sucks. Uh, when it comes to the below sea level stuff. I know if Ballerina was here, she'd be like, "Oh, it's not so bad. Yeah, you're acclimated to it. All right." I was there for a warrior leaders course trying to get my E5s and pass the course and all that stuff. But I just came from Afghanistan, Colorado, which have almost the same altitude, and then I go to Louisiana, which has a negative uh, altitude as opposed to those two places. And so I looked like I just walked out of the shower every time I came out of the barracks, just drenched in sweat because of the humidity and below sea level and all that good stuff. And it was just like, damn, this sucks. But no, Alaska's just a beautiful frontier. Uh, I watch I've watched every Alaskan show that I can find, you know, uh, and I know some of that's dramatized for television and things like that, but it's also a reality for the stuff that they have to live in and go to and go through. So I'm not trying to bring you down. Thank you for. Oh, no. There ain't no bringing down. There ain't no bringing down because Alaska is just a beautiful place, especially whenever the spring hits and everything starts to thaw out again for 3 or 4 months, however long it thaws out for. Wow. Somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. The Crow is an awesome movie, especially with Brandon Lee at the helm of the movie. Now, the other Crow movies weren't so great, but they have their place because they're different stories. Now, the reimagining that they did with Skarsgård was a piece of junk. Had they used different names for the main characters, it would have been a continuation story, just like the other comic books that James O'Barr, the great James O'Barr, created off of a tragedy. So obviously you don't know the story, um, because he built his universe whenever his fiance was murdered. Okay, so you can go talk to him about it. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. I talk to him on a regular basis. I have a piece of his artwork that I bought from him. Not just the crow. It's actually a ballerina, something that he had on eBay, and we got to talking from there. So the Crow is a great fucking movie. So you can take that opinion. I mean, you have your opinion on it, and it's your opinion, you know. So, but you're gonna have opinions from everybody else, especially those that read the book when it first came out uh, back in the '80s, and it's a great fucking comic because it is based off of true tragedy, turned into something that how he handled his emotions. So there you go. So, you know, and heaven forbid you have a tragedy that you end up turning into a story, and then somebody comes and tells you that it was a fucking horrible franchise. So, hopefully nothing like that happens. Okay. So there's my opinion on my own show. But no, um, there ain't no bringing down on anything just because we don't let that happen. We don't get down. Yes, we have our issues, you know, and we talk to a lot of creators around here. Have I read The Red Queen? Which book, comic book? I've seen titles for the Red Queen, but I have not read any of the Red Queen myself. Um, but again, please enlighten me because I do take notes. This is my horror notes right here, right now. Red Queen. Again, is that a comic book? Is that is that a book? Book? Because oh, okay, it's a book. Okay. Do you know who it's by? Do you have it handy? Because we read books around here. I've got a library and all that good stuff, so we read books on a regular basis, including some of my favorites are back here, including my Clive Barker collection. So, my favorite author of all time, Clive Barker, for his horror visionary mind. And you're gonna have somebody that comes out, oh, Clive Barker just sucks, that type of stuff. I don't care. he's still my favorite author and will be until the day I pass. So I'm waiting to see who it's by. I mean, I could look it up. I've got my computer right here, and I could look it up. But I figured if you had it handy. But no, I have not read that book. So because um, I live on a homestead. Illustration is what I do on a regular basis. Victoria Aveyard. Okay, I'll look into that book. Sounds like a Alice in Wonderland inspired title. Just what it sounds like. Not saying that's what it is, but I will look into that. It's a good book. I've been reading it. Very cool. Very very cool. How far are you into it? What's keeping your attraction to that book? Because mine, if there's not a lot of action and bloodshed and stuff like that, I'm probably gonna set it aside and go on to something else. But that's just me. Just because I'm a horror fanatic, and halfway in it's good. It's action. Okay, cool. So it's got a lot of action, so it's holding your attention. Very cool. Very cool. Um, but yeah, no, I'm a big horror buff, and as you know, just the stuff that you see behind me, over here. Well, Batman fan too, so which is evident by the Batman right up here, the Bat logo over here on the Batcave, and that type of stuff. A romance ish. It's not one of those dark romances, is it? I mean, if it is, that's cool because my girlfriend reads those on a regular basis. We were looking at some just yesterday at Books a Million. I'll probably end up getting her later on, and they only had one and three. They didn't have one and two. So, and I'm not big on romance books and things like that, but other people are. So, I get the appeal because that's why they've had romance books for the dawn of time. The Harlequin romance books that came out way, way back in the day, and it's still going on today per se. But now everybody's into the dark romance. Uh, the more twisted, the better. Because there's even book talks about them on TikTok, and they've got the whole romance book thing, the dark romance book um, boxes, those type things. And if you're not into dark romance, don't even try to go there with it. Just stick with your romance books and go from there. I don't know if it's like a rated R book or just a PG-13 or anything like that. So you know more about it than I do, and I haven't even heard of Victoria Aveyard. Um, I've heard of a lot of other people, and I go like I said, I'm in all kinds of different uh, groups and things like that on Facebook that deal with books and stuff like that. So, but we'll look into it and see what it's about and go from there. So, how are y'all doing out there? I mean, really, seriously, how are you guys holding up? If you guys are being affected by the storm at all, let us know about it because we haven't lost power. We're supposedly in the high category for losing power, but we have not lost power yet. And again, if I do lose power, I'm good. Just because the only thing that I would lose out on would be hot water, because the house is fully electric, and so my hot water heater would stop working. But I do have ways to boil water. Uh, oh, trust me, we lose power if the wind blows wrong. We've got an old transformer sitting right across the street that powers the street basically. And if the wind blows wrong on that sucker, we lose power. You know, like it's nobody's business. But yeah, no. Anytime it snows around here, they treat it like it's a natural disaster. Um, because even before the snow was hitting, I already saw the snow plows um, going to their locations so that they could be picked up today the day of the snow stuff. They were treating the roads like 3 days ahead of time, and it's just like, well, that's going to be washed off the road by the time the actual storm hits. So you guys are premature on that. But yeah, they don't know how to act when it snows around here in the South. Period. And it's sad because it happens every year. So you would think by now we would have it a plan in place that works, but no, that's not how it works. And then you still get the idiots that go out there and drive on the road and act a fool and end up in the ditch somewhere. And I see it in Alaska too. People ditching their vehicles, but you guys have legit. You guys have like 5 inches of ice and snow on top of that and all that good stuff. But you guys know how to handle the preparation for the snow and ice, on your roads, unless it's a back road somewhere, that nobody typically drives down. And then if you just drive slow and steady, you're good. You know, don't try to be stupid. Don't try to be Superman in your vehicle, and move forward with it. You know. So, but yeah, no, down here in the South, from Texas on up, once you start getting more north, they're more prepared for this than we are. So, well, I did see in Hawaii. Hawaii got snow. One of their islands out there. That was pretty crazy. So, and I know they get snow periodically, but yeah, not that bad. But I'm watching a person in Alaska too. She does a live show. She shows out the back side of her. I'm not even sure where she's at 100% in Alaska, but out her back door, it's nothing but snow. I mean, you can see the snow blowing across, the whiteout conditions and stuff like that. But she does a live TikTok show from her back porch, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty place. It's very desolate where she's at. There's no trees around her. Period. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I get that. Um, it's just like here, in the state portion. I know you guys are part of the United States, but um, here right now, you've got certain places that don't have snow, period, and then you've got other places that are just coated, and then you got some places that are supposed to be coated in snow that aren't. You know, so it's just how it all goes. We're at. I don't have that. I'm barely. Okay. What part of Alaska are you in? Because I haven't talked to my half sister in Anchorage, so I don't know what it's like there yet, or what it's like there right now. So, because she's in Anchorage right now, her and her husband, that's where they live. I want to say he's an engineer of some sort. I'm not sure if he works for the pipeline. South Central. Okay, that's kind of funny because I'm Central as well, in a town called Central City. So, so that's funny because I'm South Central as well. So there you go. Fort Graham. Okay, okay. Like I said, I watch a ton of Alaskan shows, and I've heard of that one. I don't know exactly where it's at on the grand scheme of things to Alaska. Like port protection, and then Anchorage, and then a bunch of the other ones that they portray on the shows. So past Homer, okay, okay, Homer, I know where's that. I've heard of that one 100%. So okay, that's cool. And you've been there your whole life because it is rather chilly in here. I can't turn my heater on. Otherwise, I'll probably end up blowing my breaker. Okay, that's awesome. I'm trying to think of some other questions to ask because, like I said, I've seen the Alaskan shows, and I know what to kind of expect. You know, especially since the Browns made it more famous than everybody else right off the bat. That now no longer live in Alaska. I think Bear, the not the youngest kid, but somewhere in that range, he was thinking about moving back to Alaska at some point in time, back to his roots. So, but yeah. And so, are you a native Alaskan? There's a question. Are you a native Alaskan? Don't listen to them. So, do you have the face tattoos and stuff like that? Because that's cool. I love that. I love seeing the true indigenous there of Alaska that have all the face tattoos and stuff like that. No, you don't. Okay, I mean that's cool too. Some tattoos aren't for everybody, but no, it is cool. I mean the whole culture is just cool. I mean I'm Native American. I don't look it because I look white as a cracker, you know. But but I am Cherokee on my grandfather's side, and we just don't register because they didn't want to be labeled as cattle, so they didn't sign the whole treaty and all that stuff. So they labeled them as Black Dutch and moved them to a different part of the place. You know, see that's very cool. Alaskan natives. That's cool. I love that. That's I mean that's always it's always cool to see other cultures and things like that. You know, like I said, Native American here, even though I can't prove it, just because they didn't want to be labeled as cattle. So, so we don't get to carry that card. You know, the green card. I'm just kidding. We did get government cheese though. That was kind of cool. Came from my grandfather's side, but But yeah, no, illustration is my thing. I do homesteading as well. So we have chickens and geese and ducks and pigs. Um, so that's what I do. Illustration on a regular basis, and then homesteading on the other portion of it. Walked away from the 9 to 5 gig, the punching a time clock in 2022, and haven't regretted the decision since. That's why, if I wanted to go to Alaska, sell everything I've got here, buy a piece of property there, and be done with it. Because that would be cool. I'm just trying to figure out, if I would survive the winter, the winter months, with snow drifts of 8 to 10 feet and things like that, And I know it doesn't get that way everywhere. Okay. But I mean, that would be cool. I mean, we had waist deep snow in Afghanistan because it snowed for like 5 days straight, 5 or 6 days straight because there's no trees or anything like that in Kabul. And so you had waist deep snow that you were driving in a Humvee. So that's crazy, especially in a desert environment. It snows in the desert. It even snows in Arizona. So it's just a lot drier of a temperature. You don't get all those good humidities going on. Yes, that's understandable. Absolutely. Um, what else you into? You've got your romance Red Queen book by Victoria. What else you into? Because we talk about a lot of things here. Like I said, horror, sci-fi, on the movie side, comic books, comic book artwork, my comic books, my comic book artwork, and things like that. So that's normally what we talk about. Besides Snowpallooza, that's going on 2.026, which I dubbed that. Thank you very much. And I do go live every other day. So, what time is it there in Alaska? That's one thing I don't know because it's like a 16-hour difference between here and Afghanistan. I believe that's what it was, 16 to 17 hours, something like that. So, because right now it is 4:41 a.m. right here in Central America, and you guys are a little bit farther up there. It's 1:41. Okay, okay, so you're 3 hours behind us. Okay, cool. That's not that bad of a time difference, but but that's a good distance, 3 hours. So so we're in the future. We're living in the future. You're living in the past. Oh my gosh. I always hate that. Just because, like New York is 2 hours difference, and then you move to an hour difference, and then you got the central portion of everything, and then you go backwards in time. Like, oh my gosh, we're living in the future. Oh wow. We've time traveled. So, don't forget to like, share, and follow as you get here. I will follow you back. Now, if you're one of those spam and fake accounts, I usually will not follow you back. And if I do follow you and immediately you're in my inbox, that's a good indicator that you're probably a spam account, as well. Um, Now, unless we talked about, hey, go ahead and hit me up in the DMs and things like that, then I know it's a legit thing. So, but if you only have like one or two pictures as well on your profile, when I go check it out, I usually don't follow those either. So, unless there's a rapport going on. And are you asking about the book I was reading? No, no, no. I was just asking what else you're into. We know that you've got the book going on, The Red Queen, by Victoria Aveyard. Aveyard. And what else are you into? What else do you find exciting? You know, what else? No, 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 nothing to be sorry about. Nothing to be sorry about. Um, because that's what I was telling you. That's what the show is normally about. We talk about all kinds of different things here when it comes. The only two things that we do not talk about are politics and religion. Because once you start talking about those two items, people start losing their damn minds, and you there's other shows for that. If somebody wants to go talk about politics or religion, go find that show. It ain't here. So we talk about the cool stuff here. Oh, that reminds me. Just picked up this little bad boy as well for my ghost hunting adventures. Okay, no, that's fine. Just picked up this bad little boy right here. It clips on, so whenever you're ghost hunting, you can be hands free. You don't have to hold on to the camera, which I do have my other camera that I will be holding on to as well. So the girlfriend will probably be walking around with this one most likely, and it's Wi-Fi capable. So once it gets turned on, it comes into a nice little clear picture right there, and it will follow as well once I get that all set. I just got to get in there and do all the settings and things like that because I technically just got it. It's got a place for an SD card as well, so I'm going to try um, one of my bigger SD cards. I'm not sure if it'll take it or not, but it's a 1 terabyte card. Again, off a TikTok shop. But this is a cool little thing. It follows, and I'm looking. No, that does not. Okay. But yeah, it will follow. So once you get it clipped on, and you do your whole walkthrough of a paranormal sector, you get to see all this stuff. Now, that's something they don't talk about. Slams my dad's into it. Okay. the And I'm sure there is because it's a very paranormal place. But how many haunted spots are in Alaska? That's the question I got right now. Because, there's tons and tons and tons of haunted places. I mean, just here in the area, right here in Arkansas. And then once you move up to other states and things like that, every one of them has a lot of different, you know, um, paranormal hotspots. Yes, we're in Arkansas right here. Normally, I'm a native of Oklahoma. That's why I'm Cherokee. Where my grandfather lived and all that stuff, and my great grandmother and all that good stuff. So and I'm just a transplant to Arkansas. I do not claim anything in Arkansas. Period. Um, Not even the college. The college sucks, in my opinion. Uh, Oklahoma Sooner fan here. So ours doesn't do much better. So I mean, at least we make it to the playoffs. You know. Um, and I know Arkansas is hoping. Yeah, I know you're in Alaska. That's what I was asking. If there's any paranormal spots in Alaska, some ghosty tourist attractions in Alaska. You know, because here you can go to any state and you're going to find a paranormal hotspot anywhere in the lower 48, as you guys like to call it. You know. Oh, you don't know of any paranormal spots there? Because that's the one thing I don't see on any of these shows, is that that nobody ever talks about anything paranormal there in Alaska. And so that would be something interesting to find out. That would be cool. Just because I I love the paranormal. Like I said, I live in a haunted house. I get stuff that happens on a regular basis in here in the office. That's why I have, you know, four different recorders in here. You know, here's two of the other ones. I don't know where the third one or the fourth one is at this particular juncture, but these are two of my other recorders that I have in here. Just because I get some really good EVPs in here. Now we picked up a really good EVP, which is on my page, from a recording I did off of my camera. It didn't pick up anything via video except an orb or two, which I always pick up an orb. Um, but uh, really, really clear into the microphone, like somebody just walked up to it and was like, "Hey, come back, come back." You know, that's what it sounded like. And I had already left the room, and it was a minute and eight into the video recording when that happened. So, and it was right up next to the mic, and that's on my page out there too. So, but then we also had the picture that I had sitting up here of Dexter that ended up falling off, right there. So, all kinds of stuff happen in here on a regular basis. We've caught orbs going into a hat while I was talking about the Hellraiser box. All that kind of stuff. I mean, I've seen full body apparitions. I've got uh, shadow people. I all kinds of stuff. Disembodied voices. Heard that many times. Heard one just the other day, like 2 days ago. So I was going to actually do an EVP session that day, but I totally forgot because it was right before a live show when it happened. Let you help do some investigating. I mean, that would be cool. We can always, try to work something out if you're ever stateside, or the lower 48 stateside, especially if you're in the Arkansas area ever. We could always hook up something like that because we're actually going to go do a ghost hunt, or hoping to, at a what's called the Little Theater in Van Buren, Arkansas. That's supposedly super haunted. They've also got the Clayton House, but it's a lot more expensive to do a ghost hunt there. You're paying by the hour basically there, whereas I can book a whole 12-hour session for less than what I can at the Clayton House, which is kind of ridiculous. But yes, Arkansas, that's where we are. We are in the middle, well, up northern Arkansas, right on the Oklahoma border. Like I said, I grew up in Oklahoma my entire life. That was my stomping grounds up until 2010, whenever I got married and moved over here to Arkansas. So I've been over here for 15 or 16 years, since it is 2026 now. Well, technically, I've only been here 15 years and X amount of months, just because July would be the anniversary mark of me moving to Arkansas. So Alaska, yeah, I know you're in Alaska. Alaska would be fun. Yeah, I mean, if I would love to go to Alaska just to find some paranormal hotspots. And I need to ask my half sister. I need to stop calling her my half sister because she's my sister, but she's just not with from the same mother, same father, different mother. Um, so yeah, I just need to ask her if there's any paranormal spots there in in her neck of the woods. Um, because I know there's a lot of abandoned places there as well, and that's where you do the urban exploring, where you go in and just do your videos and EVP sessions and stuff like that. But you also want to get permission into those places as well. Well, that's where a lot of people get it wrong. And I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash on that because a lot of people are like, well, urban exploring is just breaking and entering. Yes, I know. because most places have their posted "Do Not Enter" signs. Yeah, we've already established that, Jan. That's what we were talking about earlier. That you were an Alaskan Native, which is, and that's why I asked you if you had any of the face tattoos, and you said no, you didn't, which is awesome. And like I said, tattoos aren't for everybody. You know, I'm gonna get mine touched up over here. My military tattoo. I got a guy here in town that's gonna touch it up for me. So, and he's gonna do a cover up on the girlfriend's tattoo that the other tattoo artist fucked up big time. Uh, because she knew best, which she didn't. Because the tattoo was supposed to go from the shoulder all the way down to the knuckles, and she shrunk it to this section of the arm. Even though I drew it out for the entire arm, all the way down to the knuckle, life size. All she had to do was copy paste, done and done. Even if she had to do it in, you know, a section at a time, uh, it was still already drawn out for her. So, yeah. On that note, tattoos aren't for everybody. So, yeah, that's if I want to what? I missed something. I'm always into adventures. The grander the better. The more the merrier. And if you have your own ghost hunting equipment, that helps too. Because I have my little kit running around here somewhere that I've got to add these pieces to. And I got to get room for my other recorders in there. And then I've got to get this camera in there and all that good stuff. I need to get a bigger case, is what I need to get. And I know they've got Pelican cases out there that are waterproof and all that stuff. Um, but they've also got some other cases out here on TikTok that I was noticing that do the same thing that Pelican does, that are waterproof as well. But there's also cases at my local Walmart that would work just as good. And then I get a discount from the girlfriend that works there. So, you know, all that good stuff. Lots and lots of cool stuff's happening. Like I said, I'm working on the last few pages of this comic book called Condry, Man's Best Friend, for Legacy Comics with an X, not a C at the end, but with an X. And I'm almost done with all of the inking up of that. I'm working on page 7 right now, with page 8 waiting in the wings. And then I'll go back and add in the super heavy uh, clothing detail and stuff like that on the characters themselves. Because, like I said, all I'm doing right now is just adding in the inks, and then I go back in and do in the super heavy inks on the clothing sections down here, over here, up here, over here, and even up in this section right here. So once that's all done, then I take and scan it into the computer, and then I go into Photoshop with it, my old Photoshop CS4, not even CS6, but CS4, which is Creative Suites 4, which is way back in the day. And because I don't like the new AI stuff. Sorry, just not me. AI is not my thing. AI is not my bag, and it never will be. That's why I'm happy that comic book conventions, and Anchorage does have a comic book convention that happens every year up there, or that used to, um, are kicking out AI artists if they find out they have anything AI generated at their booth. They will kick them out, which is awesome. Uh, and they'll even put a sign. Sorry for the inconvenience, but this booth uses AI artwork, which we do not tolerate, and we showed them the door. So it's very cool, and I love that aspect of a lot of the comic book conventions out there. And I know we'll never get rid of AI, and AI is becoming rampant when it comes to stuff here on TikTok, Facebook, fake trailers that people put out there as well. Um, just AI general artwork has no soul, you know. And now I'm finding out that, well, you can record your voice into your system, and then AI will create voice acting work for you and use your voice and manipulate it so that you can get jobs in the voice acting guild. Which I'm a voice actor as well that does not use AI. I'm also an actor. I've been in a few films myself. Um, and it's like, why? Because say you get a gig and AI did your voice in a different way, and then someone asks you at a convention while you're signing autographs, "Hey, can you do the voice?" And you're like, no, sorry, I've got a catch in my throat right now. I can't do that voice." And it's like auto tune for musicians. Well, AI will also create you a full album out there as well. Uh, so then you go to try to sing that stuff that AI is singing for you, and you're like Milli Vanilli up there lip syncing your own stuff. Well, it's not even your own stuff because you didn't write any of it. It wrote the entire song for you. It's just like authors that are using AI. Don't ask them what their book's about unless they read their own book that AI wrote for them, those type things. And it's just ridiculous that what AI is doing for people out there, you know. And and again, hopefully they don't get asked any questions about what their stuff is about, unless they ended up reading what AI wrote for them, you know. So I'm not a writer, but I'm writing my own stuff, for my own comic book. A 4-issue comic books. I'm on page 18 of book 1. And then once I get that done, I'll go on to book 2, 3, and 4. And then once I get all those written, then I'll start the artwork for the process. Now, I'm already working on some covers for the books and things like that. So I'm looking forward to this book coming out. I don't know when it's going to come out, but it's going to come out because it has to. It's a story from my brain. And then I'll probably start working on some of my older stuff from back in the 90s and early 2000s that I was working on back then as well. Don't forget to like, share, and follow as you get here. That keeps us in the popular live category and all that goody good stuff. We're live covering travel impacts as overnight snows fall. Yes, 5 News. Thank you very much. So, yes, we are still getting snow outside. It is still coming down. Last I checked, we were about an inch, inch and a half. We're not at that 10 to 24 inches yet that they're talking about. But I'm hearing a vehicle, so I'm not sure if they're going down our road, if they're trying to make it down the main interstate, which is a quarter of a mile away, right up the road from me. Um, so we're going to be impacted with this until at least Monday, they say. And then, of course, the warmer temperatures are going to be coming on Tuesday. So we'll see. So we might be foregoing the gym if we can't get up the road and all that good stuff for the next X amount of days because we go back to the gym on Sunday. But again, we might not be able to hit the gym until Tuesday, which would suck. But especially getting back into going to the gym. And we have for a month now. So we'll see. We'll see what the roads are like in the next day or so, right before Sunday, and go from there. Hopefully, you're all staying warm and staying safe out there as well. Um, but a lot is happening here. A lot of cool things are about to happen if we can get some logistics worked out on some things. And again, it'll be lucrative if it does happen. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm looking for. And if it does happen, be prepared to see my artwork in a lot of places. That's what that means. Because it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good ride. And that's what we're looking for. But all right, everybody. I am going to kill it. I got to go check the fire in the fireplace. And we are going to kill it for today. And as I like to say, as we leave you, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.